able to see it. Yeah, so that's it right there. Presumably it's an explosive device with nails surrounding the shell, or nails being the shell, and so when it explodes, it sends them flying everywhere. Shame on whoever threw this. And I get it, Jake Lang is poking the bear, and he's been disrespectful, and he disrespects the Prophet, he disrespects Islam, and he does it every day, and he makes money doing it. So what? What do you gain from doing this? What do you gain from hurting somebody who talks bad about Islam? Because when you hurt that person, then the people who were on the fence, the people who straddled the line, the people in the middle, the people who didn't care, will now find his narrative more suiting to the truth, more fitting to the truth, which is Muslims are... Okay, I don't know if that's true. Oh wait, a Muslim just threw a nail bomb at this guy and killed him or hurt him. Yeah, they are terrorists. We have to be better. Again, I understand he's being provocative. I understand Muslims are highly jealous of their religion, but don't be stupid. Now, what you can do to make these people look dumb is educate yourself and have dialogue with them. That's how things are conducted in democracy. We live in a democracy. If you don't like that and you want somebody to be stoned or killed or imprisoned for talking bad about your religion, fair enough. Go to Dubai, go to the UAE, go to Kuwait, go to these Gulf countries, go to Egypt. These countries will gladly get people in trouble for talking badly about Islam in public the way Jake Lang does. And provocative people like that get punished over there. But here, that's not the case. So you've got to IQ mog them. You've got to have debates with these people. If I see Jake Lang, I'm not going to throw a nail bomb at him. I'm going to say, hey man, good to meet you. You want to have some dialogue as to why you have these opinions about Islam? And I'm armed with that. I understand my religion. I don't know. Jake Lang is like some Christian nationalist dumbass who's been causing issues, attacking Muslims nonstop. He's kind of like a Laura Loomer, except he's a guy. And so he's like always calling for anti-Islamic rhetoric. He says that the United States is being invaded by Muslims, which is asinine. I think there's only 1.1% of the United States population is actually that of Muslims. And he's been in New York. He's been in Minneapolis. He's been in major cities kind of doing his thing. He's clout chasing, right? These kinds of antics get lots of views, lots of clicks, lots of people enjoy it. That caters to the Gen X, the millennial, the boomer demographic, and where they think that Muslims are the problem for everything, and they still kind of believe in the same Fox News, CNN narrative from that of 2001 being Saddam Hussein is creating weapons of mass destruction, and Osama bin Laden is the only person responsible for 9/11. So, you know, he's catering to a specific audience, and he's been successful. He's garnering a lot of attention and views. He's put himself in danger because, you know, when you mess with Muslims, they fight back way too hard, and I don't advocate for that. I condemn any Muslim who tries to hurt somebody just because they're attacking Islam. That's not the way to do it, and I'll get into the details of that in my whole opinion, but we'll watch some of these videos here if you haven't been able to watch them. They've been, I think this stuff is funny, right? I think a lot of Muslims get charged up and angry, and look, a lot of Muslims have a sense of jealousy for their religion. They have a sense of pride. You know, in Arabic, this is called ghira. They have a ghira for the deen. They have jealousy for the religion. And that's admirable. That's commendable. And I think Christians could actually benefit from adopting some of that behavior. But there's a threshold, right? There's a limit to that. And you don't want to go too much and be violent, which a lot of Muslims fall into the mistake of doing. So you play into the narrative and the stereotype that they're trying to perpetuate perfectly. You see Muslims doing that in England, in the United Kingdom. And so it's imperative, honestly, for Muslims to watch this and ignore it. And again, like I said, I'll get into it in detail in a moment. Let's watch these videos of Jake Lang. So if you guys don't know, if you've been under a damn rock, the mayor of New York is Muslim. His name is Zohran Mamdani. He's a Shia Muslim. He was just elected recently, and so he's super progressive. He's a socialist. I don't like him. I hate him. I hate his policies. I don't hate him. I think he's actually very likable. I think he's, you know, handsome, smart, funny, witty guy. I think that he's very attractive to be a mayor. And so I think that's one of the reasons why he won, as well as the fact that when he was asked where he would visit in his first tour as mayor, he said the 5 boroughs, not Israel. And everybody else on stage said Israel. So I think that won him a lot of votes and popularity as well, because people are starting to wake up to how our government operates, to say the least. And so I like his demeanor. I like his character. I think he's a very attractive candidate, but I hate his policies. And I want to give credit where it's due, right? The guy is smart. He's a good debater. He's well-spoken. He's articulate. He's a good orator. You got to acknowledge that. But let's watch this. This is funny. I digress. So this reads, Jake Lang is bringing an entire roasted pig to Zohran Mamdani's office in the middle of Ramadan. This dude is my hero. Like, bro, what are we doing? So just
stop shit. Fuck you, Fat 47. Fuck you and the camouflage bullshit. You doing the leather jacket? You want to get the fuck out of here.
Walk
This
up
is
there,
not the right
motherfucker.
city.
This is my city. What's up, Ford?
Walk
I got
up,
a pig
motherfucker.
roast here, guys.
I see that.
You know you're protected because there's cops around here. Keep running your mouth. Keep running your mouth, beta boy.
You don't know. New York City's my city.
White supremacist tattoos, white supremacist flag out there. Get out.
Go. Hey, you're not gonna do shit but run your mouth, you beta.
Yes, I am. Beta. Jesus Christ. I'm smarter than you. You measure things in terms of whiteness. I'm more white than you. I have more money than you. I'm not here to fight you. I'm not fucking here to fight you.
So
Against that shit.
I suppose a pig is going to repel Muslims as like kryptonite would to that of Superman. I don't understand, like the thought process here. But this is what he does. He does these like provocative acts in the street. He says no more Muslims. He did a whole thing in Texas where he protested outside of a mosque. He says they're terrorists. He puts bacon on a Quran and like burns Qurans. I think maybe he burns Qurans. I don't know. But he does like that whole bit. And it's like, okay, cool. Like you're appealing to the boomer American patriot base, the Iraqi war vets, and many other people who fit into similar categories. But this guy is a Zionist from what I understand. Now, I've seen videos of him like attacking the Talmud, which is Jewish scripture. It's rabbinical commentary of the Torah, or the Hebrew Bible, the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And so it's just a subversion. Look, if your main goal is to attack Muslims, and I understand I have a dog in this fight. And so if you don't respect my opinion or want to hear what I have to say about this, that's totally understandable because I am Muslim. But I think that I'm really good at pulling my own bias out of the conversation and giving you guys the honest take. And the honest take here is, if your main goal is to attack Muslims, right, and do this whole anti-Quran, anti-Islam rhetoric, and none of your energy is directed at our government being at war in Iran for the benefit of Israel. None of your energy is directed at the fact that AIPAC funds 90% of members of Congress. If none of your energy is directed at the fact that the ADL can create a new term, and then anybody who's used that term in the past 10 years can get canceled off the face of the planet, or the SPLC, or any of these Zionist-funded think tanks, right? Well, then to me, your opinion is irrelevant. And the reason why is because that's the main perpetuator of the United States being involved in issues that they shouldn't be involved in, which hurts our stage on the international level. It hurts our moral compass on the international level. It hurts us optically. But most of all, that's our tax dollars going into these wars. That's our tax dollars funding these politicians who perpetuate Zionism. And so, sure, it's funny, it's cool, it's, whatever. I understand if you're probably a Christian nationalist, you're a hard right winger, this stuff is funny, but it ultimately is goy slop. And at the end of the day, Muslim, Christian alike, it doesn't matter. If you are not one of them, and I'm trying to be somewhat discreet here, I'm on YouTube, so forgive me for not being as, implicit or direct as my brother, but if you're not one of them, then you're cattle. You're a non-believer, you're a Gentile. That's the words that they use for you, and they look at you as subhuman. In their theology, they don't believe that we're equal to them. And that can be found in Kabbalah tradition, that can be found in their scripture, that can be found in the Talmud. And so it almost seems like if you are a right-wing Christian, you should still understand there's a greater enemy at hand. There's a greater enemy at play. And so that's why this guy has lost all his credibility. And a lot of people on the right, reject this whole anti-Islam rhetoric because, yeah, it might be cool for some people, but it's not really attacking the main issue here. And I'm a Muslim. I pray. I fast. I do what I need to do as a Muslim. I'm not the most religious Muslim, but, I try to practice. I practice a little more than my brother. And so this stuff doesn't bother me at all. Like, what is the harm of a dumb Christian nationalist walking the streets with bacon inside of his Quran or bacon inside of a Quran saying Muslims don't need to be here and they're terrorists? I look at that and I laugh. And I saw videos of Jake Lang in what I believe was Michigan, specifically Dearborn, and he was doing the same thing. He was doing the whole pig head on top of a Quran and putting bacon in the Quran, and there were Muslims that were physically attacking him. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, ignore him. You do realize this guy would have no attention or popularity if Muslims looked at him and did exactly what I do, which is laugh. Why does it matter? We're not in a Muslim country. Unfortunately, what he's doing is legal. We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of expression. He can do that. If you attack him, you get charged. If you attack him, you look dumb. You fell for the bait. What's worse for this guy optically? A Muslim punching him in the face, and proving him right, or a Muslim watching him do what he does and laugh? So it's imperative and it's important that Muslims understand this. and don't get emotionally charged up. You have jealousy for your religion, you value your religion, good. Go pray in the mosque. You know, if you want to give dawah indirectly. What's a good form of dawah? What's a good form of spreading your religion? Looking at a guy like this in the face and laughing at him when he has slices of bacon inside of pages of the Quran. Looking at him and laughing when he roasts a pig and brings it to Mamdani's office. This is like cosplay, goofy, low IQ, silly shit. But we legitimize it when we attack people like this. We actually give it credibility. We give it weight. We should be laughing at this. And this guy's only doing it to Muslims because it's safe and because it's lucrative to do this to Muslims. You do gain this hard right-wing alt audience that hates Islam. But the problem is that audience is low IQ because they don't actually recognize the real enemy. So let these guys perpetuate their loser mentality. They're on the losing side of politics. They don't understand how the world works. And if they do, they're too afraid to admit it. So you can line it up however you want. At the end of the day, these guys are taking an L in totality. Nothing that they're doing is actually beneficial to moving the needle, to helping our country, to changing our power structure, which is hijacked by a foreign government in a foreign country. And so that's kind of the main issue here. That's the whole reason why, you know, we do what we do. That's why all these voices have gained so much credibility and speed in the last few months. That of Myron, that of Sneeko, that of Nick, and so others. So this guy is a clown. I don't know why people legitimize him by getting mad. I think it's funny. And at the end of the day, man, the Quran is the word of God directly verbatim. But if somebody burns a Quran, if somebody does that, you know, God is to be dealing with him. God will deal with him. Why do you feel the need to go attack him? The Quran is memorized by millions of Muslims worldwide. We don't even need the physical book. It's in our heads, right? And that's kind of the mindset you should adopt when you see people like this. So I'm against Muslims attacking these Christian nationalists who do provocative things in the street. I think it makes us look bad. I think that we're playing into debate. I think we should ignore these people. You know, we should stay silent. We should watch them. We should think it's funny. But a lot of Muslims are too stupid and really dumb. They don't realize that what you're doing is perpetuating his narrative farther. You are adding oxygen to his flame. How are they doing that? We'll take a look at this video. So this reads here. Muslim terrorist just threw a nail bomb. If you don't know what a nail bomb is, it's an explosive device embedded with nails, and when it detonates, it sends shrapnel flying everywhere. This can kill or seriously injure somebody. And so I don't know who threw the nail bomb. I haven't seen details, but it seems like it was a Muslim because there were a couple official statements from news outlets in New York. And I think they apprehended the suspects and arrested them. But some Muslim threw a nail bomb at Jake Lang as he was doing this whole protest. And this is what it looked like.
Support the white liberal
I ain't gonna lie, them niggas got out of there. They got moving. It went from tough guy to see you later. But look, you throw a nail bomb that can kill somebody, so understandable. But it's just funny, you know, you play the tough guy act and then somebody really gets violent and now it's like, whoa, bro, chill.
Somebody threw a fucking bomb, bro.
That was a bomb, yeah, that was a nail bomb. You seen it? That's
Holy
a nail bomb.
shit.
What's a nail bomb?
Yeah. So you can see it here. I think they zoom in.
That was a nail bomb.
Jesus is king, and he made that nail bomb didn't
So you should be able to see it. Yeah. So that's it right there. So I'm not really familiar with the anatomy of a nail bomb, but presumably it's an explosive device with nails surrounding the shell, or nails being the shell, and so when it explodes, it sends them flying everywhere. Shame on whoever threw this. And I'll tell you why. And I get it. Jake Lang is poking the bear and he's been disrespectful and he disrespects the Prophet. He disrespects Islam. And he does it every day and he makes money doing it. So what? What do you gain from doing this? What do you gain from hurting somebody who talks bad about Islam? Because when you hurt that person, then the people who were on the fence, the people who straddled the line, the people in the middle, the people who didn't care, will now find his narrative more suiting to the truth, more fitting to the truth, which is Muslims are terrorists. Okay, I don't know if that's true. Oh, wait, a Muslim just threw a nail bomb at this guy and killed him or hurt him. Yeah, they are terrorists. We have to be better. We have to be better. So, again, I understand he's being provocative. I understand Muslims are highly jealous of their religion, but don't be stupid. Do not punch him. Do not attack him. We are in the United States. If you don't like somebody talking negatively about your religion, I have a news for you. I have a news flash for you. You got to go. You can't be here if you can't deal with that. That's a part of our Constitution. That's a part of our creed as the United States. As Americans, if somebody wants to talk poorly about your religion, unfortunately, they have the ability to do so. Now, what you can do to make these people look dumb is educate yourself and have dialogue with them. That's how things are conducted in democracy. We live in a democracy. If you don't like that and you want somebody to be stoned or hung or killed or imprisoned for talking bad about your religion, fair enough. Go to Dubai, go to the UAE, go to Kuwait, go to these Gulf countries, go to Egypt. These countries will gladly get people in trouble for talking badly about Islam in public the way Jake Lang does. And provocative people like that get punished over there. But here, that's not the case. So you've got to IQ mog them. You've got to have debates with these people. If I see Jake Lang, I'm not going to throw a nail bomb at him. I'm going to say, hey man, good to meet you. You want to have some dialogue as to why you have these opinions about Islam? And I'm armed with that. I understand my religion. So every claim he makes about chapter 8 says you can kill the infidels, and here it says that you can marry an underage girl in chapter 64, verse 5, and whatever. It's like, I've heard all that. So I can combat that. I can diffuse that. I can refute that. But you as a Muslim, do you have the ability to do that? Let me ask you something. If you're a Muslim, do you have the ability to refute somebody if they attack your religion and say that it's terroristic or it's pedophilic? Or, that's fine that you don't disagree with that or you agree with that, whatever it is. Do you have the ability to refute it? If the answer is no, why are you getting violent? Because you don't actually have the intellectual capability to shut these people down. And what looks better optically than if somebody's attacking Islam and you're a Muslim and you're in the streets and you see them having this protest and doing this civilian uprising and charging people against Muslims and having bacon in the Quran and having a pig head on top of a Quran and burning a Quran? What looks better than you having interfaith dialogue with them? I'm not saying you got to shake their hand. I'm not saying you got to be buddy-buddy, but you need to be somebody that can refute this stuff in a calm way. Why? Those on the middle, those on the side, those watching will go, damn, that Muslim's pretty smart. Damn, he made Islam look a lot better than it's looked in the last 20 years. We already deal with a foreign entity that has fueled mainstream media news sources economically to make us look bad. That being Fox News, CNN at one point. I mean, that's the whole idea, right? Like, a certain class of people benefit greatly from us looking like terrorists and Christians hating us because this is a majority Christian nation. And so the best thing we can do is lay down our arms, lay down our hands, lay down our nail bombs, unbelievable, and have dialogue with these people, make them look stupid. And if you're not going to have dialogue with them and make them look dumb, if you're not going to prove them wrong with your intellect or your IQ, fair enough, keep walking. What does that guy change about your life at all? And it's crazy that I even have to say this, but Muslims really fall for this bait. So we have to be better. We have to be better as Muslims. We're a minority in the United States. So one Muslim doing something makes a large impact. There's a big ripple effect. If a Muslim attacks somebody, if a Muslim fights somebody because he said something about the Prophet, you know, the people who are going to read that news source probably don't know many Muslims. They may not. Depends where you live. Yeah, if you live in Texas, if you live in Houston, you might know a few. But if you live in Idaho, you live in Montana, you live in the Midwest, you live in Nebraska, you live somewhere in California, you may not know a lot of Muslims. So it's upon us to make our religion look good. And you want to do dawah, you want to spread Islam the way it should look, then don't throw nail bombs at people wrapping bacon around a Quran. You look like an idiot. And you've proved him right. So that's very important. That's something that I wanted to say. So for all my Muslims watching, seriously, IQ max, get smarter, understand your religion better, and refute these people in the way we do as a country, as an American would do. That's with dialogue. Do not get physical. Do not get violent. Dumb people do that shit anyways. A stupid person will hear something they don't like and attack you. A smart person will hear something they don't like and say, I don't agree, and here's why. If you don't have the ability to do that, that's fine. Not everybody's born with that ability. Totally fine. Ignore it. That's not your lane. That's not your battle to fight. If you really believe in the retribution of God, if you really believe in this whole idea of revenge and the day of judgment, beautiful. Then believe it and actually show that in your actions. Let that manifest in your actions. If you believe that God is going to punish somebody for attacking your religion, totally fine. Let that be shown in your actions. Let that manifest in the way you act. That means ignoring these people, understanding God will deal with them justly. This is another video. This guy is a jester, you know, like, and I get so mad that Muslims actually give him heat and Muslims actually give him oxygen. Look at this. So it says, I genuinely find this thing comedic. Jake Lang just crashed the vigil for Ayatollah Khamenei in New York, showing up with a goat and saying Muslims must get out. All right, bro, this is pretty funny. Like, and again, if this is offending you, you need to have a serious moment of reflection. Really, you have to, because this is so stupid. This guy does not move the needle at all unless you respond to this type of behavior, which Muslims are doing. It's like, don't respond to this. Don't ignore him.
Kamani's a goat fucker. Kamani likes to fuck goats. The Muslims need to get out of NYC.
Poor goat, bro. The fuck is this nigga doing? What is he doing, bro? And again, I don't mean to pedestalize myself. I see stuff like this and immediately I'm diffused. I don't even react to it because I know that this guy is not intelligent. This guy is stupid. Like, he's not smart. Like, would a smart person do what he's doing? Highly provocative, silly jester behavior. He is quite literally jester maxing. You know what I mean? So to react to this and to give it fuel, to give it oxygen is like, you're also as dumb as him because you can't see through the play. You can't see through this. You know, look at this guy. He's making the goat suffer, screaming in the goat's ear. He's got flash everywhere, blasting music. Like, he looks bad right now. But if we respond to this and we get mad and we get charged up, it's like, you vindicated him. You proved him right. So my advice to Muslims is to ignore this. You know? And what actual clout does Jake Lang have? Go to your workplace and ask anybody, do you know who Jake Lang is? He's a nobody. He's a jester maxer. He loves the performance. He loves the provocative behavior. He doesn't even know apologetics. I'm sure he can't defend the Bible. I'm sure he can't defend Christianity. I'm sure he has no legitimate arguments for Islam. If he does, they're terrible. I know I'm smarter than this guy. That's why I don't react to this, right? Obviously, I'm reacting to it on stream, but that's to give a greater lesson. But like, if I saw this in person, I would keep walking. You know, I think this is like foolish. This is low IQ behavior. But it is funny, you know, to see how it's just funny, you know. Like,
a bunch of goat raping pedophiles! Get Kamani! Get Somali out! Get these Muslims out of our city! We will not allow these people to continue to rape and pillage our city! USA! 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 USA!
And look, there's people actually giving him oxygen.
USA! 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 USA!
You know, and he's racking up views. I think this got 2.7 million views. And this is the statement about the Muslims who threw the nail bomb at him.
Identified as Amir Balat, an 18-year-old man, lit and threw an ignited device toward the protest area, landing in the crosswalk of East 87th Street and East End Avenue. Witnesses reported seeing flames and smoke as it traveled through the air before it struck a barrier and extinguished itself a few feet from police officers. Mr. Balat then ran southbound on East End Avenue toward 86th Street and gets a second device from a man tentatively ID'd as Ibrahim Nick, 19 years old. Mr. Balat lights the device and starts running with it. He then drops the device on the west side of East End Avenue between East 86th and East 87th Streets. Officers immediately secured the area and they took both men into custody. This was all captured on NYPD Argus.
And these two Muslim kids are dumbasses, absolute idiots. Stupid. Why? You know what I mean? And I just monologued over it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes straight. And so I don't want to keep beating the dead horse, but why? Ignore these people. This is stupid. You know, ignore these people. There's also no commandment Islamically. There's absolutely nothing that exists in Islamic literature that tells you to attack people physically who impose your religion or oppose it and attack it verbally. There's no law. If you live in a Muslim country that's governed by Muslims, then that's their decision to make. But for you, as a layman, as a regular citizen, there's no Islamic basis for this. And if you think you are, and you think there is, if you think there's credibility to that, you are the problem. You are the problem. You're Khariji, you're Khawarij, you're an issue. We need to move away from this, fight this vocal protest, fight these provocative behaviors with violence. Low IQ, that's slop. Do not do that. So, really disappointed with whatever the kid's name was, Amir. And he's 18, right? He's a kid, but Muslim parents, we have to raise our Muslims not to do stupid shit like this. Who cares what this dude does? Look, I mean, bro, he's just...
What the fuck?
He's jester. Like, is this really... And maybe I'm just too smart. I don't know. This stuff does not bother me. Maybe I'm just too smart. I don't know.
What is wrong with these people? Mandami needs to be castrated.
Mandami. Like, and why is he calling for the castration of a man who did nothing to him? You know, this guy is actually calling for violence. He's his dummy. Let him talk to himself. You know, he's a nobody.
Holy shit. This Muslim sympathy is mine. What the fuck?
You know, so the guy's obviously not talented enough to do what I'm doing, jump on a stream and actually monologue or talk about issues in the world and make sense to it. The guy's not able to start a show. The guy's not able to gain power in politics and legislate and move the needle and create policies. This is the maximum of his capabilities, which is take to the streets, wear U.S. military uniform-ish. I don't even know what the hell he's wearing. Wear the American flag and say, death to Muslims, and, you know, like this whole redneck Midwest kind of talking point thing. And so I don't understand why anybody finds legitimacy. He's only blown up in popularity recently because of these provocative things he's doing. It's the same thing with, like, what was that guy's name that used to Boot Gang? Remember Boot Gang in like 2017? The guy who would jump into a gas station and just like throw aisles on the ground and spill drinks everywhere and hop over a Dunkin' Donuts counter and steal donuts. And he went viral for that. And the guy's changed his ways now. Good for him. But I bring him up to make a greater point and an example that people who do provocative shit like this for attention understand that their relevance in mainstream media or alternative media is short-lived. As long as you ignore this guy, he'll diffuse himself. Right? So, message to the Muslims, if anyone wants to clip this up. Muslims, stop attacking these people. Really stupid. You're playing into the narrative. No one cares about them. No one who's smart follows them. Jake Lang is a dumbass. He's an idiot. He doesn't understand anything. He doesn't know how the world works. His only ability at garnering attention is to jump to the streets and scream, Muslims kill people, Muslims are rapists, Muslims are horrible, I have a pig in my hand, I have bacon inside the Quran, I'm moving the needle. If that's the maximum of his capabilities, give him no airtime. Anyways, I want to move on. We'll read some super chats and then we'll get into the next story about Iran. But yeah, bro, it's like stuff like that gets me mad because I don't get mad at Jake Lang. I get mad at the Muslims actually reacting to it. Because if you looked at the videos in Dearborn, here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. See if I can find the clip of. So, look at this. This is him in Dearborn. So he's got lighter fluid in his hands. I'm assuming he's trying to burn a Quran, right?
You can burn it, man. You can burn it.
It's America.
Don't say you can burn it.
It's America.
Don't say you can burn it.
It's America.
Okay, we don't
It's
respect
not
America.
That's
We don't respect America.
This is
We don't respect them. No.
I'm laughing because he ducked, bro. Thought he was about to get smacked.
We don't respect.
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts on it after we'll watch the video.
No. Listen. We don't respect America.
Listen. We got another Quran. I'll go get a different one. We got another some bacon. We go.
Yo, if you guys don't know, Dearborn, Michigan has like an insane Arab Muslim population. A lot of Arab Christians there as well, but an insane Arab Muslim population. So like, look, here's him burning Jewish scripture as well.
Country. Oh my God.
Americans against Islamification, like, it's just really cringe. This guy is cringe.
And lighter fluid. So he goes to try to set it on fire. Someone takes it away. Now let me just show you.
Okay. This is his thing in, oh, this is Dearborn. Look at this. Look at this. What the fuck are you doing, bro? Don't do this. This is so stupid. So here he is. He's holding up this banner, Americans against Islamification. So why is he saying Americans against Islamification? Because Muslims are terrorists and they're pedophiles and so whatever, right? You would think if you're smart and you're Muslim, oh, let me just ignore this guy. Let me drive to the mosque. That's constitutionally protected, by the way. Freedom of religion is very evident in the United States. We get to practice our religion freely, thank God. Let me drive to the mosque. Let me pray on time. Let me do my salah. Let me do my zakat. Let me pay my charity. No, let me punch this guy who's attacking my religion and perpetuate his narrative further. Look at this. What are you doing? What are you doing? I caught that nigga though. But really, like, I'm joking. Stupid. And this is a kid, right? He's a kid. He doesn't know better. Looks like he's in Yemen. Looks like he's from Yemen. You know, Yemeni people have hearts of lions. God bless them. But again, You're hurting us. Nick Fuentes does not like that the Muslim population of the United States is increasing. And so what does Nick say? We need to gain control of politics. We need to gain control and legislative power. We need to get inside the government, infiltrate, and stop immigration. Or we need to vote for people who will stop immigration. See, if you don't like Muslims, or you don't like the Islamification of America, or you don't like the fact that the Muslim population is growing, fine. Attack it from a legislative perspective. That's why people respect Nick. That's why Nick has so much more of a following than this guy, because he actually is going about it the right way. Why would you ever give somebody like this oxygen? Look at this guy. He's a dumbass. Did you really take him serious? 1.1 to 1.3, I believe it is, % of the United States is Muslims. So does the United States actually have a Muslim problem? No. Europe, you can argue Europe actually has a big Muslim problem because they've taken over. But that's the white people's battle to fight. White people have their government subverted by a certain class of people, and they call for immigration. That's been the case in the United States ever since the 50s and the 60s, the Hart-Celler Act and so on. There have been more immigrants here. You don't like that? Change the policy, gain power. Nick does it the right way. Now, do I think Nick hates Muslims? No. I think Nick is actually really fair for Muslims. Excuse me. Fasting. Okay. Give me some grace. I think Nick is actually very fair towards Muslims in the fact that he says, look, I don't hate them. I love everybody, but I want my country to feel like America. I want my country to feel like it's my people surrounding me. I don't want to be alienated. I don't want this alienation of culture or religion to enter my country. That's fair. I can understand him. Do I agree with him? No, I'm Muslim, but can I understand him 100%? Yes. And can I get behind the message of America first, less immigration? It's not benefited us anymore. Immigration used to benefit us. Now it's hurting us. 100% I'm behind that message. So there's ways to go about this. Don't give a dumbass like this any oxygen. He's an idiot, right? And he's also potentially paid opposition. Who knows who's in his pockets? Potentially Zionists. I think there's a clip of this guy kissing the wall, touching the wall. I don't know. I don't follow him. I don't pay attention to anything he does, but I've seen that on X a few times scrolling through my page. And so there's that as well. Did you really trust this guy? You know, maybe that's not true, but he might as well kiss the wall because he's doing their bidding. And what's their bidding? They want division. They want Muslims and Christians to fight. That's the goal of the Zionist lobby. That's the goal of Zionist lobbyists. That's the goal of Israel. That's the goal of anybody who has Israel's favor in their mind, at the forefront of their mind. They want Muslims and Christians to hate each other. Because if Muslims and Christians ever built this alliance or this coalition, and we set aside our differences for 10 minutes really like a few years, and we actually faced a common enemy, we would be a lot more powerful. There would be a shift inside of the United States, right? And this guy is trying to perpetuate that division. He's trying to drive a wedge further between Muslims and Christians. And it works when you punch him. It works when you scream at him. It works when you retweet his stuff. Ignore him. I react to this solely for the fact that he's already garnered a massive amount of attention. I react to this solely for the fact that I want to educate Muslims as to how to go about these situations. That's why this is important to me. Pay this guy no mind. You know what I mean? Here's him doing his march. There's other clips of Muslims attacking him and punching him. And like I said, I get it. He's poking the bear, but pick and choose your battles. You know? So that's that. So, okay, here it is. So this is him in Israel kissing I mean, bro, come on, bro. I mean, you know what I mean? It's almost frustrating for me to have to continuously explain this, but I think a lot of Muslims need to hear this and they'd benefit from being educated by what I'm saying. And that's that this guy is opposition. He's paid. Don't look at him. Look beyond him. Look past him. There's nothing that he's doing that's moving the needle. He has no political power. The only influence he has grows when you do exactly what he wants, which is to do his bidding and attack him. He wants you to attack him because he's vindicated in that. So, but yeah, my boy all up on that wall. God damn. I know that check was fat. Getting paid real good. And by the way, guys, all these like anti-Islam, Muslims are doing this, Muslims are doing that. It's almost always this is the case. Right? It's almost that they either are that class of people or they're heavily funded by that class of people. What does that tell you? Use your brain, put on your thinking cap, not the tinfoil one, put on your thinking cap, think with me for just a moment. If the only people who perpetuate this narrative of Muslims being terrorists and Muslims being pedophilic and Muslims taking over the United States, which they're not, Maybe Europe, you can make the argument that there's too many of them, but here that's just not the case. It has not materialized whatsoever yet. It's not even close. And so if somebody's spreading this idea and they're giving it light, they either are that class of people or they're paid by that class of people. What does that tell you? That class of people doesn't want Muslims and Christians to recognize there's a common enemy right in front of them. So, as Sneeko and Nick say, the Goyim must unite. This guy does not want the Goyim to unite, right? But I love my Christian brothers and sisters. I have no problem with Christians. They share a majority of the United States. There's churches everywhere. So I pay my respects to the religion. I worship who I believe to be the true God. I follow my own religion, but I would love if Christians could shake our hand for a moment and say, hey, you know, we kind of recognize you guys aren't as much of an issue as it's been made out to be. And then we can cover a lot of ground. So we must ignore idiots like this. We must ignore him. But that boy got the 7K. That boy got the 7K. He got that 7K. Yeah. Is this real? I don't know. Somebody fact check. I mean, this is just crazy. Like, dude, he's got the whole stringy hand thing, the whole cube on the head, the whole thing. Like, he's got the full pack, the full wash and set. And allegedly this guy is Christian. Yeah, no, you're not. Christ does not approve. Christ does not approve. Christ condemns this action. Christ condemns this. But seriously, let's read some chats and then we'll get into the Iran updates. You liking the stream so far or what? I think we're having a good time. Okay.